Hello and welcome to Kody and Korbin Have a Podcast, the show where two former roommates talk about a new movie every week. But this week on the show, we're beginning KHAP's May Mania, and we're talking about all sorts of different movies. I'm your host, Korbin Zvocal, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Kody Webb. Kody, how are we doing?
We back, baby. We back. It's it's gonna be a fun one, and it's gonna be a fun month, I think, in general. May Mania of KHAP. Come on, how can you not be excited about that? May is a great month already. My birthday, a lot of other things probably, but May Mania of KHAP. Come on, you can't beat that. But yeah, man, Jack will be here, and should be a good one.
Yeah. So just to kind of explain what we mean by May Mania, we're still figuring it out a little bit, but basically it's going to be more episodes, at least 2 episodes a week, maybe 3 episodes a week.
We're doubling down, basically.
It's a little bit of in celebration, like you mentioned. We both have birthdays this month, so we figured, let's go out with a bang, because who knows, it might be our last birthdays. Also,
that's tough.
Hey, you never know. So you gotta live every one. I think it's the last. Also, I'm graduating college, so we can celebrate that. It's school is beginning to let loose. Maybe people will have a little bit more time to listen to episodes. I know we're going to have a little bit more time to record. And then the best part about it is we're going to have a ton of guests on the show. So if you want to be a guest, reach out. We're looking for a ton of people to come on almost every episode. Speaking of which, we are starting here with our first guest, the wonderful Luke Manning. Luke, how are we doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Now, if you're a longtime listener, Cap, you might recognize Luke. He offered up quite a few hot takes and questions. Honestly, probably about half of the ones we did in our season 2 finale. So we're glad to finally get him on the show. But he's been a part of the show in the past a little bit.
Yeah, basically, he was the best part of one of our episodes. So we don't take any credit for that. That was all Luke. So yeah, I'm excited to have you on, though, man.
He definitely carried that episode.
He did. He low-key did, though. That's the
thing. You said send a hot take, and I sent about 10. So
yeah. We appreciate it. And getting into a little bit of hot takes, this is going to be an interesting episode. It's a new format. It's something that I think we might do with other guests as well. I'm calling it KHAP Chats.
Let's talk about that.
So basically, we've got a guest here. We all love movies. We're just going to talk about movies for a little bit. It's not super structured. Basically, the only structure we have is, if we're going back to we have a Podgorithm, we have the Blockbuster card game. There's more cards in the deck, and they're kind of prompts. So for example, this is just one. It's movies with a number in the title. So what's going to happen here in a second is I'm going to draw a random card. It's going to say a thing, movies with a number in a title. You can think of countless movies with a number in a title. Each of us is going to give one movie that fits that prompt. And then we're going to kind of go around in order, and we're just going to chat about the movie for, a little bit, see where the conversation takes us. We'll talk about it for as long as we want, and just, discuss, maybe give some hot takes, maybe, who knows, right? This episode is full of surprises, and Luke is probably the perfect guest to have it, because I feel like he can talk about just about any movie. And, Kody can just make anything up on the spot. So
yeah, I can just pull stuff out of my ass. So this is a good episode for me too.
Looking forward to hopefully doing this again. The other thing that we're doing for KHAP Mania that I want to do is, we might have a lot of new listeners. So I want to every episode recommend an old episode. And since Luke's here, I'm going to recommend go check out the season finale of season 2, episode 24, to hear all the great hot takes that he provided with us, and then our reactions to those. So if you're a first time KHAP listener, go check those out. Or if you're an old one and you missed it, that's a great episode. We also had some guests on there. So go check out the episode.
No, that was definitely a good one to recommend, I think, as well. So I back that. I might go back and listen to that one because that was a fun one.
It's a classic. It's our longest episode ever as well. So keep you busy. Let's get down into it. I'm going to draw the first card. Let's hope it's a good one.
We should do that number card. That was a great card.
You think? What do you think, Luke? You want to do the number card?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So first card, movies with a number in the title. We're going to go around. We're going to start with Kody. You're going to say your movie, and then we'll move on to the next person. So what movie do you want to discuss today, Kody?
Well, there's a lot of them that I was thinking of when you said that, but the one I really like is 1917.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting. I
just
did not see that coming. Okay, yeah. So we'll come back to it.
It's got 4 numbers in it,
Exactly.
It does have 4 numbers.
Big brain out here.
I think that might be cheating, honestly. My movie is a single number, and it's 7. First thing I thought of when I thought of movies was the number and the title.
That was the first thing I thought of too. Yeah.
I am sorry, I'm unoriginal. We'll move over to Luke.
And now I have to think of another one.
You gotta pick another movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with District 9.
Oh, okay, that's actually pretty good. That's fun,
that's
actually. Luke, this is a little bit of a sidetrack, but here, Luke, have you played the game Framed?
I haven't, no.
Okay, so Framed is like Wordle, but with movies. So you'd probably enjoy this, and we've recommended it on the pod before. But framed.wtf is a website. It shows you a frame of a movie. You guess. If you get it wrong, it shows you another one. They kind of get progressively easier. You have 6 tries. The movie today
was District 9.
April 27th that we're recording this was District 9.
Was it really?
What a coincidence.
And
that's funny.
And Korbin got in 3 guesses, and I got in 2. So
Cody did beat me to it, but he likes the movie more, I think. So we're gonna start with Cody's pick, 1917. I'm gonna give a brief synopsis for the people who don't know, and then Cody's gonna lead the conversation. So 1917, at the height of the First World War, 2 young British soldiers must cross enemy territory and deliver a message that will stop a deadly attack on hundreds of soldiers. It's directed by Sam Mendes and stars George McKay and Dean Charles Chapman in the 2 lead roles. Cody, what are your thoughts on 1917?
I think 1917, first off, it's just a beautifully made movie, which is obvious but needs to be pointed out. And I think the cool thing that they do in a lot of war movies, sort of similar in Dunkirk in a sense, but not really, is you get actors who you don't really know. And I think that works beautifully in this movie. The main guy, who's obviously like the plot thread, I think he's actually ridiculously good. And obviously the cinematography, the iconic shot of him like running across the battlefield, crazy good stuff. The night visuals of just the city burning, so good, I think, as well. His 1v1 with that one sniper guy at the beginning, almost very, very cool. There's so many just like specific moments in that movie that I really like. But I think and I've talked about this before, and we talk about it in like roll credits all the time, the opening and closing shot, I think it's just such a cool touch to the movie, because they start out, he's like sitting on a tree talking to all his friends and stuff, and then the closing shot, it's just like the perfect culmination of war, I think, because you have a band of brothers who, are all there together, they're not really sure why they're there, and then it ends with him just his back on the tree and he's dying. But no, I think it's a great movie, and I don't believe it won Best Picture, did it? It was definitely nominated.
Beaten by Parasite.
That's fair. I mean, if I had a pick, I would have picked 1917. I'm not as high in Parasite, I think, as a lot of other people are. I love Bong Joon-ho, but I don't know, that movie. I don't know. That's definitely not a 5-star movie in my book. I'm moving away, but 1917, great flick. Who directed it, Korbin? Tell me again. You said it.
Sam Mendes.
Sam Mendes, yeah, that's obvious. James Bond guy, but no, great movie, and definitely one of my favorites from like the past 5 years, probably.
We'll throw it over to Luke. What are your thoughts on what Cody was saying?
Yeah, I agree with everything. I really enjoyed 1917. I know a lot of people criticize that movie for its script. I can see it, but I can also see that you have a guy who's on a mission, who talks to very few people. It's not going to be the most, in-depth script, because it's definitely a visual movie. It's got great cinematography, great camera work, the one-shot stuff all throughout. My favorite sequence would have to be I think it's the night window sequence, where it's like the first blatant cut in the film, where he gets shot by the sniper that you were mentioning, and he wakes up and there's flares going off in the city. Probably one of my favorite sequences in any film ever. Just like when I watched that in IMAX for the first time, I was just blown away. I had no idea how they were able to do something like that. And I don't know if you guys have watched the behind the scenes stuff, but they created models and then used a light on like a string to go over the models to know where the shadows would go during that scene, to have him run perfectly, to cast the light on him when it needed to be there. So that movie had an insane amount of planning, obviously, with what they had to do with maintaining the illusion of one take, but Oh, I love 1917. I think it's great.
Do you agree? Should it have beaten Parasite for Best Picture?
No, no.
Yeah, I disagree with that as well.
Yeah, I mean that year was packed.
Yeah.
With great films. I would have been happy with about 3 or 4, which is, that's rare because there's usually only one where I'm like, that should win it, and if it doesn't, I'm disappointed. But that was a great year. But yeah, no, Parasite was the best film that year.
Before I talk 1917, let's take a little sidetrack here and talk just like 2020 Oscars, the 2019 movies. Pretty incredible slate, like you mentioned. Here's the films nominated for Best Picture in that year: Parasite, Ford versus Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I mean, that's a pretty solid list of films.
Yeah.
In most years, there's probably like 1 or 2 films in there that like I didn't really connect with or I didn't really like. And honestly, like I enjoyed all of these movies. Would you agree with that? What's your problem, Kody? What do you got beef with?
Good year in movies. I don't know if it's like upper echelon. Like those are all very good movies. I will give you that, but nothing really sticks out other than like the top 3, I'd say.
You just think recency bias? Is that what you're?
I mean, a little bit. It's hard not to have recency bias with a lot of things, I think. But I mean, I think this year was maybe a little bit down every year. So I mean, compared to this year, 2020 like knocks it out of the water. But I don't know if it's like up there with some of the other great years.
Hey, yeah. Only time will tell.
I think 5 of those movies could have won Best Picture this year, honestly.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That is fair. Yeah, I back that.
I mean, it was stacked. Yeah, I won't get into Coda and what we think of that, but
you just watched that recently, didn't you?
I did, yes. I enjoyed it, but Best Picture,
maybe not, on par with the highest class of films. You talked about going back to 1917. It is incredibly choreographed, and I think really like from a directorial perspective and like having to manage all of these things at once and getting everything so perfect and executed and dealing with your actors and your sets and your crew. And yes, the cinematographer plays a large role in that in terms of the one take nature, but I think it's just like an incredibly impressive and incredibly well directed movie. It's not easy to do. And listen, I think Parasite's amazing. I love that Bong Joon-ho won that award. But it would have been okay if Sam Mendes took it as well. I mean, you're also going up against Tarantino, Scorsese, and then Todd Phillips. So a stacked group all around. And, I'll take the Bong Joon-ho win, but this is an incredibly well-directed film.
I don't know why Joker was even nominated for Best Picture, but it's kind of whack in my opinion. I don't know.
Because it was so relatable.
Maybe to you, but don't get on the subway with Korbin, man. Jeez, watch out.
I was just going to say, Scorsese is probably my favorite filmmaker, and I love The Irishman, but I forget about that movie. I gave that movie an easy 5, and I just forget it was ever made. So hearing that was nominated in that same year is kind of weird.
Yeah, I think if you look at like his filmography, like The Irishman is like, if anybody else made it, yeah, it's great. But when you're like, oh, put this up against every other Scorsese film, Goodfellas, The Departed, Casino, like Raging Bull, like in comparison to all that stuff, it's just like, it doesn't really, it's just not, like you said, not memorable, doesn't stand out. There's nothing unique or special about it. I mean, other than they made Robert De Niro look less old.
I think Al Pacino's great in that movie, actually. I think he's probably has the best performance.
Hey, you get some Jesse Plemons, so that's fun.
Yeah.
He's not doing much, but he's there.
Jesse Plemons, I think he's actually pretty underrated, but I think Joe Pesci was very, very good in that movie as well. But
yeah, when is he not good though?
That's all.
Cody loves Home Alone, so
I mean, how can you not like Home Alone, dude?
It's a good film. It's a good film. Classic. Going back to 1917, and you said seeing it in IMAX, and we didn't see it in IMAX, but Cody and I saw that movie together. And do you remember what happened when?
Did we see that?
Do you remember what happened when we went to the theater, Cody?
Was it we got like split up or something? COVID? I don't remember. No, it
was before COVID. These girls were in our seats. They wouldn't move.
I do not remember that.
I don't remember this at all. We went to the theater over in Lafayette.
Yeah.
And
the GQT 10 or something.
It was either the 7 or the 10. I don't remember which one, but the nicer of the two. We went to that and we get in there and these girls are sitting in our seats and we're like, hey, these are our seats. Like it's reserved seating. And then they pulled out their tickets and it said the same seats. We're like, what the hell? So then we had to get a manager and the manager came out and he's like, oh, you girls, these tickets are for tomorrow. You bought tickets for the next day. Which I was like glad, because I was the one who bought the tickets, I'm pretty sure. So I was glad I'm not the one who fucked up.
Yeah.
I think they ended up just letting them sit like behind us, but they would not move. They're like, they were very persistent. We were just like,
I don't even remember that.
Great theater experience, though. I guess it didn't have a significant impact on Kody beyond that.
I think I just remember the movie, not right. Yeah.
We all went. It was like me, you, Dylan, Mina, Connor.
Yeah, I remember that. I just don't remember people being in our seats. That's tough, dude. Bad memory. Gonzo.
Little off topic, but is that the craziest theater experience you've had, or is there anything that tops that?
Well, Korbin always goes back to the kid yelling laser beam during a Free Guy.
that was just cringy. There was a kid when I was watching Free Guy. It was like, oh my god, it's laser beam when laser beam came.
Boy,
just pretty funny. And I was at that movie alone, and there was like 50 children there. I had a good time, but that's besides the point. I don't know if craziest. My worst experience was actually at the GQT9 here at the Wabash Landing, and when I saw Shang-Chi, there was these dudes sitting behind me who were talking the entire movie, and it wasn't like they were like doing a commentary of the movie and like trying to make jokes back and forth like every moment. And it was just like, no one was laughing except for like their group of people, but like it was so annoying, and they were right behind me. It was the worst. What about you? You got any crazy stories?
I can remember my first mistake was seeing Solo, a Star Wars story, on opening night, but there was this guy with his kid behind, and it's like the theaters that the space in front of the seats is like you can fit like three. It's huge, and he was just letting his kid run up and down the aisle. I don't even know. It just made me so angry I couldn't even focus on the movie for a solid 30 minutes.
It's not a bad thing necessarily with Solo, though. I mean,
yeah,
it might have been more entertaining than what you were watching.
People behind us on opening night of Endgame got in like a fight during the movie, as when they go into what is it called, New Asgard or whatever.
Yeah, I think so.
And they see Thor and Korg. This guy is saying, "Stop kicking my girl's seat," or something like that, and it's getting louder and louder. And then they get up, I turn around, and they're like shoving each other. This is opening night, you got a bunch of hardcore fans, and I'm like, really?
Trying to watch a movie, man.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to enjoy a cultural event here.
Cody, you have any crazy stories? I mean, you can't even remember the one I had, so.
Yeah, but that's not even a bad experience. I haven't had like anything drastically bad, I don't think. Sort of similar stuff, or just people are being annoying and shouting crap. My Spider-Man No Way Home experience really wasn't the best. People were just yelling shit the entire time, but still a good movie. I mean, like I said, I kind of just like block everything out anyways, so even if people are talking, I really just don't even listen. But I haven't had anything noticeably bad, I don't think.
On that note, let's move on to a movie that none of us saw in theaters. My movie with a number in the title, 7.
What's in the box?
It's a head.
It's Gwyneth Paltrow's head, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
2 homicide detectives are on a desperate hunt for a serial killer whose crimes are based on the 7 deadly sins. In this dark and haunting film that takes viewers from the tortured remains of one victim to the next, the seasoned detective Somerset researches each sin in an effort to get inside the killer's mind, while his novice partner Mills scoffs at his efforts to unravel the case. Directed by David Fincher, released in 1995, and starring Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, along with Gwyneth Paltrow's head and Kevin Spacey. Let's talk 7. All right. I think 7 is, I think the memes of it, kind of almost overshadow that it's actually a pretty good movie. Recently we talked about it a little bit with the Batman, how it's kind of very similar. They did a thing where, every time they're outside, it's always raining. And that's a callback to 7 that we talked about on the podcast. Just a gritty, like, crime drama. I mean, obviously David Fincher likes his dark stuff. He goes back to it traditionally. I think it's a really good precursor to like what he does in Zodiac, but he does it better in Zodiac, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. 7's a movie that kind of keeps you guessing. The end has been popularly revealed in pop culture, so it's kind of hard to not know that's going to happen. When I watched 7 for the first time, I knew Gwyneth Paltrow's head was in the box, which I guess is kind of a shame at this point. I think that moment has probably just become so iconic that, it's hard to avoid. It's kind of like, whether I haven't even seen The Sixth Sense, but I know how that ends, right? It's something similar to that. I'll throw it over to Kody. What are your thoughts on 7?
You haven't seen The Sixth Sense?
No.
Oh,
there's a movie with a number in the title.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I watched it in honor of Bruce. But no, yeah, 7. Off the bat, I do disagree a little bit. I think 7 is a better movie than what'd you say?
Zodiac.
Yeah,
I think
Zodiac,
I'm saying the things he does as a director are better executed in Zodiac.
I guess. I don't know. I really don't agree with that either. But I agree with what you're saying mostly. I mean, it is super cool setting, I think. Like you said, the raining thing was something I want to mention too. I think the performances are actually maybe some of the best like Fincher's ever worked with. Morgan Freeman, I think, is unbelievable in this movie. Okay, Corbin's guy I thought. But dude, Morgan Freeman is ridiculously good in this movie. Kevin Spacey, you can say whatever you want about him. I've slandered him multiple times. He's really freaking good in this movie.
Well, slander him again. He's a terrible person.
Yeah, he's terrible.
But he's good in this movie.
He's very good in this movie, to be fair.
He plays a bad person in this movie too. So
makes sense. He fits right in his character. But I think Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow are pretty underrated too. Obviously, Gwyneth Paltrow's whatever, but I mean, this probably is her best performance. And it's such an iconic ending. I think the iconicness of this is something that brings it above Zodiac for me. Also, I have some issues with Zodiac. Overly long. I don't know. The plot's whatever. Gyllenhaal's in it. Whatever. He's not great in that either. But I don't know. I think 7 is a much better movie. It's much just well-rounded movie. The whole idea of the 7 deadly sins as like a mass murder type as well, I think is super interesting and something that we've seen replicated about 100 times. So I think when other movies like blatantly copy movie like the Batman does, it's a very good film. So yeah, I kind of disagree with Korbin, but obviously still a very good movie.
Luke, what are your thoughts on 7?
I actually agree with I think 7's a better film than Zodiac, but I do think that Zodiac is better directed. So I agree with you there. I don't think people understand or realize how goofy 7 can be. Like it's a very serious movie and it's got some very intense scenes, but like you can't tell me that you don't laugh a little bit at how do you say it? Gluttony?
Yeah.
Where he like eats himself and he's like in
Like
the bowl of
opening.
spaghetti.
Yeah.
And the guy that you think's dead. And I mean it's great prosthetics and stuff, but like, come on, it's a little silly. I think the cinematography's great with the rain.
Do you think this movie served as an inspiration for Saw?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a similar thing. It's, serial killer
Yeah.
kills people, puts them in intricate traps.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been done in other places, but I think drawing a line from there to there is probably not too hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to add. I just think it's a great film. You guys kind of already mentioned all the things that are good about it.
Do you think Morgan Freeman's performance in this movie is the best Fincher directed performance? I think that's absurd.
I said the cast as a whole.
It's definitely Sigourney Weaver in Alien 3.
Jesus.
I back that.
I think you're telling me the Social Network performances, Kody, are not better.
I don't think the cast as a whole. I mean, who else? I don't think JT's good in that movie at all.
Brenda Song?
It's like
you don't think she's killing it?
I was saying those 4.
Rashida Jones?
Give me another 4. She's in it for like 2
Army
minutes.
Hammer?
Yeah, Army Hammer would be 4th, I think, probably. And he's good, but
and Rooney, whatever her last name is.
Mara Rooney. I mean, again, she's in it for 5 minutes, so I don't know. I'd say those 4 of a front 4 is tough to beat from a Finch fan movie, but you can slander me all you want, my guy.
I think Zodiac has better overall performances than 7.
I don't think Gyllenhaal's good in that movie at all, man.
Shut up. You're just a Gyllenhaal hater.
Compared to Prisoners, like Gyllenhaal looks like a 10-year-old in Zodiac, so I don't.
He's supposed to.
Yeah, I mean he's supposed to be like a goofy, immature cartoon artist.
He
Plus,
does.
Ruffalo and Downey Jr. are also incredible. So
yeah, Downey's very good in that way.
I am not a fan of Mark Ruffalo, and I think he's great in Zodiac. So
that's true. He's pretty bad. Bad in the Avengers movies. Yeah, I don't know. He's pretty shit, but he's good in that movie too.
Me and my friends always make fun of of Ruffalo in Infinity War. He's like, Thanos is coming. he says it with the weirdest like tone of all time.
Because he fell through the earth,
Yeah.
or through the
But then
Sanctum
he's just a
Sanctorum.
hanging head at the end out of the Hulkbuster. That CGI is so bad. Looks like
The
his
Hulk
neck.
has never been properly handled in the MCU. Let's be real.
No.
What about Ang Lee's Hulk? That was pretty good.
Hey, I love that movie, dude.
It's on your wall.
It's on my wall. It's right there. I mean, listen, I'm a sucker for the Hulk, so just give me something good. Give me something real. Maybe She-Hulk will finally give it to us, but
I'm kind of excited for that.
where does 7 rank in Fincher films?
I'd say it's upper echelon for me. I mean, what do we got?
Here,
Social
I'll
Network.
list Social Network,
Yeah.
Zodiac, Fight Club, Gone Girl, 7, The Game, Benjamin Button, Panic Room, Girl with Dragon Tattoo, Aliens
Yeah.
3.
Gotta be up there, top 3 with
Just-
Fight Club and Social Network. I'd say.
Just behind Alien 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Alien
Other than
3,
Alien
Girl with
3.
Dragon Tattoo, 7.
I haven't seen the Girl with Dragon Tattoo. It looks decent actually, but I'd say it's top 3 pretty easily for me. Yeah.
I think Social Network is probably his best film.
Yeah.
Then I'd go 7, Zodiac, back to back. I really like The Game too. I
Really?
think the ending. I think the ending the game is fantastic.
I think the ending's really good. I think everything else is just like so meh that it doesn't quite pull it
Yeah.
off. I think 7
fair.
is his 5th best movie. So that's my
man.
my take thing. Like it definitely drags there in the middle. It just kind of gets really slow and it's just like this is not. And again, I think Zodiac. So for me, here's my top 5.
How
Social
long
Network-
is Zodiac?
Zodiac is like a 3-hour movie, but I
Yeah.
think it handles its time better and it progresses
it
the
does not.
story in a more interesting way. The Social Network, Zodiac, Fight Club, Gone Girl, 7.
Yeah, Gone Girl of it. Wow, I don't know about that. That's a
Also,
bold
2
take.
great. Talk about great performances: Ben Affleck, Rosamund Pike, and Gone Girl. Cody. I know you don't like the rest of the movie.
Didn't you had Ben Affleck as your worst actor? So you
No,
can't use
I
it.
just said
Yes,
he
you
was
did.
playing himself. So
That does not count. You cannot claim he had a good performance all of a sudden.
hey, you
I
say I
remember it.
can't change my opinion in a year.
Yeah, you're changing it just for your cause now, but there's no chance that we're letting you get away with that. So,
Let's move on to District 9.
oh, excited about this one.
So District 9, like we were talking about, was today's Framed. So if you're not on the Framed kick, I mean, I don't know what you're doing with your life. You got to be there. 30 years ago, aliens arrive on Earth, not to conquer or give aid, but to find refuge from their dying planet. Separated from humans in a South African area called District 9, the aliens are managed by Multinational United, which is unconcerned with the aliens' welfare, but will do anything to master their advanced technology. When a company field agent contracts a mysterious virus that begins to alter his DNA, there's only one place he can hide. District 9, directed by Neil Blomkamp, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
South African. Starring Charlton Copley, Jason Cope, Nathalie Bolt. Also produced by Peter Jackson. So
Yeah.
there we go. Luke, why don't you take it away? Tell us about District 9.
Yeah, I don't know why this came to my head first. I mean, I think it's a good film. I think I gave it a 3.5 or something like that out of 5, not
Oh.
10.
Out of 10.
Yeah, I think it has some really cool visuals. I think if I remember correctly, Blomkamp and his crew do all their visual effects, and they kind of have the same look to them. Because I know he did Chappie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And Elysium.
Yeah, and Elysium. Like Elysium's not a good movie, but the effects look awesome. I think Vicus, I think is how you pronounce it, the main character. He has a great performance by, you said, Charlton Copley. His panic when he realizes that he's been infected, and he has to basically flee to District 9 and escape them hunting him. I think he does a great job of really exemplifying how someone would act if they realize they turned into the very thing that they've been hunting down or controlling for years. I really like it's not very subtle, but the
metaphor for apartheid.
Yeah, metaphor for apartheid. Yeah, it's not very subtle, but I think it's cool. I think you can do just about any terrible world event and do aliens, and it will work. And sometimes I think it's not necessarily more powerful, but I think when you take something like an alien from another planet and make them the subject of what we humans did to other humans, you can realize how just how messed up it really is. I think it's a great movie. Throw it to you guys.
I think kind of continuing on with that, so often in films you see the like aliens as the invaders and the trope of taking over and wanting power, and I think this movie does something really interesting where it turns that on its head, and it's that we are the oppressors, right? They're just here, they're seeking refuge, right? They're refugees and mistreated refugees at that. And while they're like strong creatures with an advanced technology, they're still like this vermin and this like beast that is being outcast to the special District 9. So I think that's a really cool twist on the alien genre as a whole. One thing I wanted to talk about as well is this movie like had a weird impact on me as a child, even though I never saw it. I just like have very distinct memories of its like marketing campaign and like like I think the ship itself like floating above the city is so cool, and the aesthetics of it and the junkiness of it. It just like, I watched this movie for the first time probably like 2 years ago, and even before having seen it, just like it's always stuck out to me as just like the imagery is like stuck with me despite ever even seeing it.
I definitely agree with that as well, and I saw it for the first time pretty recently as well. I think it was maybe a couple of years too. But I mean, I'm a big sci-fi guy, obviously, and this is by far Neil Blomkamp's best movie, I would say. It's not particularly close. But I mean, the setup is so cool as well. I think the camera work at the beginning, where it's almost like a reality TV show or a documentary of some sort, where they're following, what's his name, Charlton Copley? Is that right?
Yeah, he plays Wickus.
Yeah, he's great in this. Sort of just his turn from just this desperate guy. Well, he starts off obviously as basically it's like knocking on aliens' doors, being like, you're getting evicted, and then he turns into the desperation of trying to get this reversed, and then eventually him and accepting it, and trying to actually find a cause for what he's turned into. But I think another thing about this movie as well is they set it up for a sequel, and it never came, which really sucks, because I think even if Blomkamp doesn't go back to it, I think somebody else could, and it would be maybe even like something where you can bounce off the first one and make it so much better. But I do agree, it's not like a perfect movie or anything. I think it's just an interesting take on sci-fi. Obviously, what Korbin was saying, it's not an alien invasion movie, really. It's more a metaphor, like you guys were saying.
And it's even like it places it 30 years after the fact. So it's not even, you're not even there in the moment. It's like this is lived in history at this point.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan. I mean, the whole alien community, it kind of gets weird and sketchy, where these people are like obviously dealing arms and dealing drugs and everything, and there's tones of obviously it's pounding you over the head of what the metaphor is pretty clearly.
But it's accurate. Like that's exactly how people would. That's exactly what happened. Like,
yep. And going off that, like you saying, that's exactly what happened. The reason we have all these movies, books, any form of media where aliens come here and attack us is because that's exactly what we would do if we went to them. So like we project what we would do onto this species. And then you made a good point, Kody, the like the drug trafficking within District 9. It's not even like, it's almost like there's another version of apartheid happening, because there's like crime lords within District 9 that come from another
I think it's Nigeria.
Yeah, it's Nigerian.
Kenya. I think it's Nigeria is where the characters, because they all speak Nigerian. It's really interesting because you have the character. Isn't he like in a wheelchair, or he like doesn't have?
Yeah.
Is like the crime boss, which is such an interesting character. Like, it's. I just think as a whole, like the movie's so unique and different than really anything else that you see, which is what I love about it.
It's super unexpected, I feel like, for a sci-fi. I mean, going into it, like obviously this guy's probably going to turn into an alien, and then it gets flipped on its head. But the actual story, I feel like, is super unpredictable. Like he befriends the other guy. I don't remember, is it like his kid or something, but whatever. Like they become good buddies, and then I believe they turn on each other at the end. So like the story as a whole is actually like very well written, I think, and super interesting the more you dig into it. Yeah, good flick. Definitely check it out.
Here's to hoping for District 10.
Please.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Give me District 10.
And we're back from our commercial break. We're going to draw another card, and we'll see where it takes us for our last 3 movies.
Season 3. Didn't do it off the top.
Well, yeah, we're not there yet. This is different. This isn't we have project.
It's the same though.
Movie set in New York.
Oh.
There's a long list of movies set in New York. Just so you don't get one taken from you, we'll let Luke start. But if you need a second to really pick a good one, we'll give it to you.
I have another pick. This is not my pick, but Muppets in Manhattan. What a movie, dude. Oh, it's actually really good. Kermit, he gets his head gets hit and he loses his memory. It's good stuff, man.
You should talk to Jackson about that. He's a big
Miss Piggy get married at the end. I saw it when I was like 10 and it blew me away. But good flick, dude.
Luke, what's your movie?
So, film set in New York, I'm gonna go with Taxi Driver.
It's a good one. There's lots of taxis there. We'll throw it over to me for the second movie, and I'm going with one that kind of set in New York, the original Planet of the Apes. And we'll go Kody one? For the last one. Yeah. The classic, Charlton Heston.
Yeah, I guess it is. That's a good point. I'm gonna go on more of the fun edge here. I'm gonna go with Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
I kind of saw this coming, to be honest.
You brought up Home Alone earlier. I gotta pick it. Come on,
Luke, you're going first. Taxi Driver, obviously the Martin Scorsese flick Taxi Driver, starring Robert De Niro, Jodie Foster, Albert Brooks, Harvey Keitel. Synopsis is: a mentally unstable Vietnam War veteran works as a nighttime taxi driver in New York City, where the perceived decadence and sleaze feed his urge for violent action, attempting to save a pre-adolescent prostitute in the process. Luke, take it away. Taxi Driver.
I first saw Taxi Driver probably 2 years ago, and I've watched it probably 6 or 7 times since then. So I obviously really like it. As far as set in New York, the reason I picked that one is because that, to me, is one of the most, when I think of 1970s New York, that's the definitive movie.
It's like a movie where the setting is almost a character. It's integral to the story, right?
Yeah, I mean it's disgusting, and that reflects in Travis Bickle's character. I mean, he's constantly, there's the voiceover of him saying how disgusting and repulsive the city is, and he's right. He's crazy, but everything he's saying, you literally see it as he drives his taxi. I don't know. I mean, it's ugly, the city itself, but it manages to be also beautiful. I mean, the film looks amazing.
Yeah.
The camera works great. Editing is great. It's edited by, and I just figured this out, it's edited by George Lucas's wife.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And yeah. But yeah, it's a great film. I think Robert De Niro is great in it. It's a hard watch. I've seen it so many times, but yeah, I mean, I feel kind of gross seeing it every time.
I agree. And to bounce off that, I think this is obviously tough, but I think visually this probably is Scorsese's best. I think the camera work is actually ridiculous in this movie. And obviously, Robert De Niro, incredible. We don't need to talk about that a ton. But I think just the transformation of his character as well is sort of similar to District 9, but obviously not at all. Just completely becoming a madman, and the haircut, the shot of the pointing the gun to his head, such good stuff. I think overall, going back to Scorsese, I don't know if this is his best, but it should be. He just made so much good stuff. It's ridiculous. But, I mean, I would probably put it up there pretty easily. Obviously, I'm a big The Departed guy, but, I mean, just visually and storytelling-wise, I think it's not even really close to Raging Bull. Yeah.
Let's see. What year did Raging Bull come out real quick? Yeah, okay. So he makes his movie in 76 and then, makes probably 5 other movies that are just as good as better. Yeah. So it's definitely not a peak, I would say, Raging Bull was in 1980. I mean,
Goodfellas is, I think, obviously up there as well. I would put Raging Bull and Goodfellas on the same level. I really would.
Yeah, I mean, I think
disagree.
They're I mean, Raging Bull looks better. I think the characters are more fun in Goodfellas. I just don't love boxing movies, so.
Jake, what is it? Jake LaMotta, is that his name?
Yeah.
He's so good, but gosh, I wish I could get in the ring with that guy because he just is so obnoxious.
You could tag him.
I don't know about that, but
Obviously, this movie, I mean, you talking to me? Iconic stuff there all around. Like you said, the haircut. I mean, name a better movie mohawk. I got none. Nothing's better.
No.
It's Scorsese doing Scorsese things. It's obviously very early Scorsese, but there's clear themes and feelings that kind of transcend all of his movies and connect to them. So I think it's really cool to go back to like a really early work from a director and see them continue on with, similar ideas. So
I don't know. It's such a thematically rich movie too. I mean, every time I truly believe he doesn't want any, sexual favors from
Jodie Foster, right? No.
Yeah, Jodie Foster's character. I mean, he doesn't want anything from her. He truly wants to get her out of that situation. And the scene where he's like, what, like she starts to take off her clothes and he's like, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's a side of that character that makes you relate to him a little bit more, or at least there's some good left in him. Yeah. Harvey Keitel, he's great in it for the little time he has. That's another dude I want to get in the ring with.
I bag it. No, I think just the subtlety as well. Like you feel like in that moment specifically, like he is a decent guy, but I mean, he's clearly a psychopath at the same time.
Oh yeah.
He in his head, he has good intentions, which I mean, I feel like that makes a pretty good protagonist. But yeah,
I'll say this is another one of those movies that I think is often identified. I mean, I think a good chunk of Scorsese films are lumped in this category, but like the red flag movie, like if Taxi Driver is your favorite film, that's, some people might indicate that as a red flag.
Yeah, that's probably true. I probably wouldn't say that, a lot. My favorite movie is Taxi Driver. Like it probably is, one of the top tier movies, but like in a normal conversation, it's like, oh, okay. Anyways, like, what's your favorite movie? But Taxi Driver? Oh, nice. Like, what are your response to
that? Two things to mention with this movie. Scorsese's performance in the car is actually amazing.
Yeah.
I think he's scary because you really believe everything that he's saying in that scene. And then also, what is your guys' take on after he falls on the couch, the police enter, everything after that, is that in his head as he's dying? Or is that reality? What do you think?
That's a tough one.
What do you think, Kody?
What do I think? I'm not much of a movie theorist out here. I would say it probably does make sense that it is all in his head, just on like logic alone. But at the same time, I kind of I don't know. It's tough. I would, like, me personally, I would say fuck it. Like, he got away or whatever. But I mean, logically, that probably does make more sense.
I just, camera wise, it's like the only top down shot and everything's still. It's almost like it's his, conscience, soul, whatever you want to say, leaving the scene. I mean, it goes through the entire scene, and then we get the local hero saves, and then the letter from her parents. It's just all like, it's too neat. It's too neat of a wrap up for what just occurred. It's like what he would have wanted to happen from what he did, but in reality, that's not the case. He just shot, 4 people.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be told as, whether they deserve to be shot or not. That's what it'll be told as.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a strong opinion one way or the other. I've only seen this movie once, so I'd probably have to give it a rewatch to identify exactly that moment that you're talking about. Like, in terms of like the camera work, I never really quite picked up on that, but I like that theory a lot. So let's move on to our next film, which is going to be Planet of the Apes. So from 1968, directed by Franklin J. Schaffner, a U.S. spaceship lands on a desolate planet, stranding astronaut Taylor in a world dominated by apes 2,000 years into the future, who use a primitive race of humans for experimentation and sport. Soon, Taylor finds himself among the hunted, his life in the hands of a benevolent chimpanzee scientist. Like we mentioned, starring Charlton Heston, Roddy McDowall, Kim Hunter, Rhys Evans. This movie, I picked it for movies set in New York, but that's kind of the big reveal of that this movie is set in New York. It's kind of the crux and the climax, the finale of the movie, because the entire time, like the synopsis says, he lands on this desolate planet. So the idea is they send him out into space. He's like in deep sleep for a really long time. And then he lands back on this planet, and he does not know that it is Earth. It is just some strange planet. And he shows up, and there's these ape people that are walking around, and they're dressed like humans, and they talk, and they're in control of these humans who are basically like Neanderthal cave people who don't have any sense. And it doesn't give you, he doesn't realize it's Earth until this final moment when he's escaped, and he looks over, and then he sees this destroyed Statue of Liberty, which, again, going back to 7 is kind of an iconic ending that has been so easily spoiled. I think the Simpsons do something with it at some point, and I think that's where I probably first saw it. And then it's emulated so many times, the broken Statue of Liberty. So it's a film that when I watched it, I knew that at the end, but I think it doesn't it's one of those movies that like makes you forget that it's going to happen, because even though I knew it was going to happen, when I was watching the movie for the first time, I was like so into it that when it happens at the end, you're like, oh shit, like this actually is a bit of a twist. And I can't imagine what it was like sitting in the theater in 1968. Like this show, like I feel like that would be an incredible moment that, I wish I could have been there for.
It's probably in the top 10 movie twists. It's got to be up there, I would say. But overall as a movie, I think it's not like as culturally important or like as successful other than the twist, which is obviously very good and super iconic. But I mean, yeah, I feel like obviously it's made in the 60s, so it's hard to judge. I think I've seen this movie once, and it was a while ago. But I mean, that is the thing that resonates with you. Charlton Heston, very good actor, classic actor. And like the makeup and stuff is super good. I mean, the issue I have with it is it spawned like how many sequels? Like 10, 8, somewhere in there.
They did a ton. They did a lot of them. And then obviously the revitalization. They did a Mark Wahlberg one in 2003, and then we don't talk about the most recent trilogy, which actually isn't bad.
The new reboot is very good.
No, it's good. Yeah, they're all good films.
I think Dawn is ridiculously good. But yeah, I mean, the cool thing about the newer 8 movies too is like they actually have like Caesar and whatever the bad guy's name are like actual like fleshed out characters, like actual cool characters you can get behind. And I don't know if they do that as much in the 60s original. Obviously they are like main characters.
I mean, you've got the scientist one that I think is probably the most.
It's always on Charlton Heston though. But yeah, I did not expect you to pick that, but I respect it. Good Planet of the Apes guy, I guess. Didn't know that.
We'll throw it back over to Luke. Luke, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll just say I don't have much to add with this film. I've only seen it once, but I will say that 1968 must have been the year of the apes, because you have Space Odyssey 2001. So something must have been going on.
Sci-fi apes.
Yeah, costuming is all cool. I don't know that it's as believable as.
Doesn't quite hold up, but
no.
I mean, it might be better than the Mark Wahlberg version, though. I don't know. It's
that is true. But yeah, like you said something about The Simpsons. I think The Simpsons has like done a parody of like almost every movie we've talked about.
That's true. I mean,
I know they've done 7. I know they've done
Raging Bull.
They've done You Talking to Me.
Yeah.
They've done Planet of the Apes. Like they've reached every cultural.
You're on TV
milestone.
for 20 plus 30 years. I mean, you might as well. And I guess they're predicting the future as well. Some people might say.
Oh, that is true. Yes.
Cody, you know who directed Dawn of the Planet of the Apes?
Ooh, I don't think I do. I don't know who directed most of those movies.
Reeves, right?
Yeah, Matt Reeves, Batman director, directed the trilogy. So,
Matt Reeves is whatever, but yeah, those are good movies, well directed. But that guy's he's the most bland guy in Hollywood, man. I don't know how he got the Batman, but yeah,
what he got the Batman because of those movies.
Exactly. Which I mean, those are good movies, but I don't know if I'm giving the guy who made like Rise of the Planet of the Apes Batman.
Well, he didn't make Rise of the Planet of the Apes. He made the other two. So
he didn't make the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Rupert, you can blame Rupert Wyatt for the first movie.
Yeah, that was not as good, but Dawn is very good, I think.
They're very different films. I mean, and they're trying to do different things. So I kind of understand it. I mean, War is literally a war movie, and I mean, Dawn is a little bit as well. So
What's the other ape's name? Kingo? Is that it? No, that's the guy from Eternals. It's something with a K. I'm not gonna be able to pull it. That's tough. But that's a great character. That is a top tier villain, I think. And I think that's something that's missing, I think, in the original a little bit. There's not like there's obviously the antagonist. Koba. That guy is sick. Played by Toby Kebbell, I believe. Fan Forstick fame. But yeah, no. Dawn is a hell of a movie and one of my favorites for sure.
These movies always have interesting casts as well. I mean, obviously Circus at the center, but also in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Gary Oldman, Jason Clarke, Cody Smith McPhee, Oscar nominated right there.
The girl from The Americans, what's her name?
I don't know. Something. Also, Woody Harrelson and Steve Zahn are in War for the Planet of the Apes. So
yeah.
And then
wasn't James Franco in the
James
first
Franco,
one?
Yeah, James Franco is the main character of. But John Lithgow plays his old Alzheimer's, and you know Draco Malfoy, Tom Felton shows up in that movie as well. Just little interesting characters. Before we end our discussion on Planet of the Apes, I just want to say Charlton Heston is a bad person. So
what did he do?
He was like the president of the NRA, which listen, say what you want. He's the president of the NRA for many years. Like around the time that Columbine happened. If you've seen Bowling for Columbine, it's basically a hate piece on Charlton Heston. Just not a good dude. When Columbine happened, didn't really have any positive response. I mean, not surprising, but was doing rallies 4 months later and just, touting guns left and right, which I personally think is a little insensitive and, not the proper response to the first major school shooting. And clearly, here we are many years later, still having, still not going well.
Have you guys seen the 10 Commandments?
I have not. Tell us about it. What's it about?
It's about the 10 Commandments.
Oh, Jesus. Yes. Well, not Jesus, but
Jesus. You don't have to, believe in the Bible to enjoy that film because it is revolutionary as far as VFX go. The parting of the Red Sea, I'm sure everybody's seen that shot. It's a pretty incredibly impressive visual film. But I was just gonna say he's Moses in that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Charlton Heston is 50s, 60s, 70s, is in a ton of incredible movies. I mean, I know Ben-Hur is obviously a classic one, but I mean, you pick any old white dude from that time, they're probably not the greatest person in general. So, we'll throw it over to our last movie, a classic with also another white dude that I'm not a fan of, or maybe
Donald
orange.
Trump.
Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, directed by Cody. Do you know who? Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone fame,
Chris Columbus,
also sailed the ocean blue. Chris Columbus. In 1992, instead of flying off to Florida with his folks, Kevin ends up alone in New York, where he gets a hotel room with his dad's credit card, despite problems from a clerk and meddling bellboy. But when Kevin runs into his old nemesis, the Wet Bandits, he's determined to foil their plans to rob a toy store on Christmas Eve. Starring, obviously, Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, Catherine O'Hara as well, and directed by Chris Columbus, and a score from John Williams.
Oh, I'd say that's the big thing, I think, from this movie that propels it. I don't know if it's better than the original, but the score is very, very good. Yeah. In general, I would say it's hard to do a sequel, especially with a comedy and with a kid actor to beat that. But I think putting this movie in New York gives it that fun spin you need. Obviously, he's stuck in his house in the first one. This time, he's got the whole city, so he can do pretty much whatever he wants. I think, a couple of the best scenes I'll rattle off here. Him throwing bricks off the roof at Wet Bandits. Good stuff. He takes over basically just an abandoned building at the end and does pretty much the same thing in the first one, but good comedy all around. The Bird Lady. Dude, the Bird Lady is sick. She saves his ass at the end, just like the old man in the first one. Such good stuff from her as well, though. I don't know if there's been a better comedy sequel than Home Alone 2, which is a bold statement. But, Donald Trump cameo, great stuff all around. But, I mean, it brings back pretty much everything from the first one, but puts a bigger and better spin on it. And I'm just a fan in general. So, good flick. Bird Lady. Hashtag free the Bird Lady.
How do you forget your child twice?
Well, yeah, that's – I mean, these parents clearly don't care at this point. Also,
they're like, he was fine the first time. Let's just leave him in New York this time.
it's such a happy ending because they fly away from Florida to come to Kevin, and then the toy guy, gives me like all these gifts, and it's a great ending. They're finally all together as a family, but and not very good parents, sad to say, but yeah, tough stuff.
I want to jump in with a Letterboxd review I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Marv gets fucking murked in this one. Jesus Christ, he got like 4 bricks right in the head, staples in the dick, fell through a hole, fell on the floor, got paint cans all over him while a shelf hit him, got fucking electrocuted, got a massive sack of whatever that was on his noggin, got a huge metal bar in the face, and then on the chest, fucking hell, fell from the 3rd story of a house, got cans of varnish dumped all over him, and then got attacked by Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. I mean, I know he's a horrible person, but Jesus Christ, Marv, are you okay?
He's basically indestructible, honestly. These Wet Bandits are tough, man. Prison changed them, but I mean, dude, you can't really defeat them. They just always get back up. But yeah, the bricks to the head is the tough one. I feel like they just get immediately. Those kids on like, I don't know, a 5-story building, just chucking bricks and smacking in the face, and nothing happens. So. I mean, that's comedy gold if you ask me, but yeah.
Luke, what do you think about Home Alone Lost in New York?
I have a distinct, this is going to be the weirdest story you'll probably get on this show.
Oh, okay.
I have a very distinct memory of when I was about 8 years old, we'll just say 8. My grandma had called into the radio station for free Wiggles tickets. Like, the show Wiggles.
Yeah.
They were doing a concert in Indianapolis. So she calls in, she gets tickets. And so we have to drive to the radio station, and it was in the wintertime, and that movie was on in the car in the DVD player. And I remember watching about the first 45 minutes, and I didn't know, and then it reset when I got back in the car. So then I just rewatched the first 45 minutes again. And that's like my memory with this film. So yeah, I watched Home Alone 2 while getting Wiggles tickets at the car.
How were the Wiggles?
Oh, they were great. Yeah. I mean,
top notch.
One of the best concerts I've ever been to. So
high praise.
Did you ever finish the movie or just watch the first 45 minutes?
Yeah, no, I've finished the movie after that, but yeah, Bird Lady scared me a bit when I was 8, but that's kind of the point at the beginning, and then you realize she's a sweet soul. It's a great Christmas time movie. I watch the Home Alones every Christmas, and they're never not fun.
I back it.
I don't know if I've seen this movie in the last 15 years.
Wow.
Really?
I don't know. It's been a while. Maybe 10. Maybe 10's better, but it has been a while since I've seen it, to be honest. So
probably don't even know who the Bird Lady is, dude.
Anybody have any thoughts on the new Home Alone? Anybody watch that?
I have not seen it.
The kid from Jojo Rabbit. I've heard bad things. That's all.
I've heard very, very bad things. Yeah. I don't know who would watch that movie, honestly, but
I'm sure it's the same scenario as I know they just did
There's a kid, and he's home, he's alone. Yeah.
Alone.
Yeah.
He throws bricks off roofs. Pretty much the same thing all around.
He probably Fortnite dances on him after he hits him with the brick, though.
Probably, actually. Shambles.
Macaulay Culkin. He's had an interesting career, to say the least.
What else has he been in other than that was some other kid.
Richie Rich.
The kid, the Sixth Sense confused. That's the same person, basically.
Haley Joel Osment?
Yeah.
I mean, he's like 15 years younger than him, but yeah.
Okay.
We mentioned Brenda Song earlier. That's his.
Yeah.
Is it wife or just?
I believe so. I believe they did get married.
I think they actually. Yeah, I think that was a recent thing. In the last year, they got married. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Good for Macaulay Culkin, dude. Yeah.
What do you mean? Good for Brenda Song.
Fair. I mean, Macaulay's catch, but I don't know.
I mean, yeah. As of recently, his most recent, he's been in American Horror Story. So there you go, Kody. That's what he's been up to. Obviously, his brother Kieran Culkin has gained some popularity on Succession. He's also in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which is a great film. So
yeah. The other brother, is it Rory Culkin? He was in Columbus. the one about architecture that takes place in Indiana.
Also in
I thought he
science
was
as
pretty
well.
good.
So
Oh no.
Is he?
apparently,
He's a little kid in science. Oh wow.
I don't
Shout
know if
out
he's
to
that
I just
good, but he's in it.
they all look the same. It's insane.
Interesting family for sure. The Culkin crew.
Another Joe Pesci movie too, dude. He just keeps popping up. He's everywhere. You can't escape the Pesci man.
Joe Pesci, the MVP of today's pod. That was the end of our very first cap chat. I think it was pretty exciting. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now we're gonna move on to we have a Podgorithm which continues to use cards and this game, so but it is a little bit different.
Season 3.
Season 3, there it is. This is the right time. So if you're unfamiliar, the way this works is these cards have specific movies on them, and we'll draw them, and then we each get 30 seconds, only 30 seconds. Would never let anybody have more time than that.
No.
To just give a quick hot take, quick reaction, discuss the movie. We get a new movie every week, so it's always random. We never know what we're gonna expect. This week's film, Monsters Inc. Anybody want to jump in to say their piece first, or not get their stuff taken, or if not, I'll take it away.
Take it away, Corbin.
Yeah, take it away.
All right. Banging soundtrack. That opening, like it's so jazzy. Like, oh my god, it's like I love it.
So good.
It's so good. All the doors, as that song plays, is amazing. The other thing I want to talk about is the running gag that kind of still prevails to this day, where in every scenario Mike Wazowski gets covered up. So like on the DVD there'll be like a sticker that's always over his face, or even now if you watch this movie on Disney Plus, there's time. If you watch this movie on Disney Plus and the credits roll, it'll like do the picture in picture thing where it slides and it's like, watch this next. You get Sully and Mike, and Mike's getting covered. So one of the longest running gags in all of movies. So there it is. Mike Wazowski. Who wants to jump in next?
Go, Bartlett.
All right, 30 seconds on the clock.
All right. My favorite sequence of this film was always when they go through the door and they're stuck with the Yeti. I always thought when I was younger that the snow cones was the funniest thing of all time. And somehow they managed to look appealing, even though we knew that it was pee. But yeah, no, the song soundtrack's great. I think Mike Wazowski and Sully are some of the best Pixar characters ever created.
Kody, finish this off.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a great flick, I think. I think my favorite sequence is probably when they're all riding around in the doors. Also, Randall is, I think, an underrated villain. Pretty menacing as a kid, first time watching that. But the voice acting, Billy Crystal and John Goodman, I think, is what really shines here. And then, you just get attached to Boo, such a cute little kid. But definitely a great overall Pixar film. Easily top 5 for me. Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like Monsters Inc. kind of always gets forgotten a little bit when you look at like the greatest Pixar films, which I definitely think it's up there. Monsters University, not as good, but
gross sequel.
Good movie.
Don't do sequels, Pixar. They don't learn.
They never
Cars
learn.
2.
They
should
Toy
learn
Story
right
2.
Okay.
Toy Story 2.
Toy Story is the exception to the rule because they're all very good, but best trilogy of all time, no debate.
That would be a good topic right there, because that is a great trilogy.
We do. I will say, Kody talked about favorite movie twists. I definitely think that's an episode we're going to do one day. So stick around for that. And also I've wanted to do like our favorite prequels, sequels, remakes, trilogies, something along those lines as well. So definitely expect those episodes coming soon. Our final thing of the pod, what have we been into? Our weekly recommendations.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
So Luke, basically just anything you've been watching lately, movies, TV, what do you want to recommend to the people that they should check out? It could be new or old. It could be anything.
I'm actually just getting around to Better Call Saul. So I'm about to wrap up season 1, or I just wrapped it up. I don't know. I'm liking it so far. It's not hitting as hard as Breaking Bad, but I've heard that it gets better. So I'm excited to keep getting to more of that. I don't know. I'm really high on, I know I've mentioned this to Korbin probably more than 5 times, but I'm really high on Children of Men right now. It's
Nice.
it's in my top 4. I think if I rewatched it, it could bump Dune out of my second spot. But yes, if you have not seen Children of Men, watch it. I can't believe I waited so long to watch it because it is perfect.
You know, a movie I have not seen. I think we talked about if you ever come back, which I'm sure you will at some point. But if you come back and you do one of our traditional episodes, that's probably the movie you'll pick. So I'll just save it. I won't watch it until it's with
right.
you, Luke.
All right.
So that'll force you to come back. You'll have to come back just so I can experience Children.
I
of Men.
will. As long as you invite me, I will.
Absolutely. Anything else you've been into recently?
I don't know. I mean,
You've been watching Moon Knight. Have you been on the Moon Knight grind?
I'm an episode behind. I guess 2 now.
Well, yeah, I haven't seen today's. So
Yeah,
that we're recording this on
2
Wednesday,
behind.
but
Oh, you're 2 behind? Okay.
Yeah,
We'll save it.
2 behind.
we'll save it. We'll have time to talk about it.
Yeah,
I think they've been getting worse though every episode. What are your thoughts on that, Luke?
no, I mean, I thought the first one was intriguing. Second one was okay. I saw the third because today's the 5th one.
Today's the 5th, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
Is it?
the third one.
No, today's definitely the 4th, right? I've only seen 3.
I don't think you watched last week's episode, Kody, because it wasn't marked off on our shared Disney Plus account when I watched it with Mina.
I think so, dude. I watched
So, yeah,
that was the last one I watched.
Okay, so
Well,
the one I've seen is where
Luke, take
they're
your
in the
headset
desert.
off really quick. Cody,
But the last thing I watched was
what was the final scene?
the hippo.
Yeah, that's the 4th episode.
Oh, really? What the hell was the 3rd episode?
Okay. You can come back. You can. He has
Alright,
seen 4 episodes.
Middle episodes were kind of forgettable.
Okay.
I've seen episode 4, of course. Yeah.
So yeah,
God,
the third one I thought was not very good at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a
And
huge
in
fan.
fact, there is a
Oh yeah.
full-on cameraman in one of the shots,
I did see
like,
that.
standing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's, so the people who directed this have not directed anything. Like this is
No.
a brand, which is really interesting. Apparently, I was reading recently that, or saw somewhere that the guys who are the creators of the show basically created this big pitch, and they're like, "This is what we want for a Moon Knight show," and they pitched it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, okay, you guys be the directors, and you just do whatever you want with it." So
Wow.
there's some master plan here that apparently Feige loved and other people over at Marvel. So for trusting some rookie people out with this thing. I think the 4th episode is a little bit better because it's that turning point in the season, and takes things on. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's a little bit of a different episode, so there's at least that. So
That's good. Yeah, because
and it ends in a bit of a cliffhanger. I guess I can say that it ends in a cliffhanger. So
Yeah. Oh, that's fine.
It leaves you wanting more, at least. So, which the others have not necessarily done. Cody, what have you been into? What have you been watching?
I've been to a couple things. The usuals. Game of Thrones. I am on the last season. I have 1 episode left.
Oh boy.
And, oh man, what the? Okay, so season 8.
Luke, you a Game of Thrones guy?
I'm not, but I'm familiar with just about
Yeah.
everything with it. Yeah.
Fair. But season 8, it started off okay. It's slow. There's only 6 episodes, whatever. The 3rd episode they fight the zombie horde, and it turns into just World War Z out of nowhere. So that was kind of weird. Oh man, the second to last episode, it's a fucking shit show, dude. Oh my god, it's actually people always said the last season's bad. It's really bad. Basically the 5th episode is just fucking Daenerys is burning down the city for a fucking hour, and it was the character turn is whatever, it doesn't make sense for a character, but that's literally the entire episode. It's just it's like a volcano scene almost. I think the people who made the last season didn't know anything at all about the first 7 seasons. They're like, okay, what can we do with a cool set piece with a dragon? Oh, well, they're going to, Westeros, and they're probably going to burn the place down. Let's just have a fucking volcano scene. it's pretty frustrating. I'm not gonna lie. I can go on for more. They threw away Jamie Lannister's character, who's one of my favorites. They kind of threw away Bron's character, which I didn't even know why.
Yeah, but that's literally their thing. They throw away every character.
No, it's not at all. They kill everyone off in fucking cool fashion, and they didn't do that at all. They killed off Cersei in the lamest way possible with some bricks. Who cares, man? Nobody even got to stab.
Well, if she was Joe Pesci, she would have survived.
Nah, give me Arya stabbing fucking Cersei in the throat. That's all I wanted from the show. We didn't get it, but it's whatever. You know, obviously Survivor's going on. I called out Chanel getting voted out, I believe, in the last episode.
Easy get. Yeah, sure.
And she got voted out. So, you know, take that or leave it. My prediction for this week, I think it's blindside time. Check your watches, boys and girls. I think High's gone. I think he is. I think one of the bigger characters this season is gone, and he's kind of on the outs right now. So that's my prediction. We'll come back next week, and I'm sure he's gonna be running the show or something. But I'm throwing that out.
I'll say this: it really is gonna. Tori back-to-back immunity challenges. If she wins again, then she'll say. I think she might be on the chopping block if she doesn't win now.
Exactly. That's why it's blindside time. That's such an obvious vote. She's not going to win immunity, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, it's just gonna be Tori." That's the perfect time for a blindside.
Yeah, I don't think Kai's that great, so I'm fine with him going if he goes. At this point, at the release of this episode, if you're a Survivor fan, sorry, come out. So
yeah, but that's all I got. I don't have much this week.
Yeah, I don't have a ton either. I actually have not watched any movies really in the last week. I'm like halfway through a film, so maybe I'll talk about that in the next episode. But been busy just trying to finish up. Luke and I are both in the same spot. We just got about a week and a half left, so trying to finish it out. So
are you finished with all your classes?
I'm still editing my short film, so I guess there's something I've been into is my short film. Gonna finish editing that tonight. Showcases this Friday. So yeah, I'll be sharing that places. So if you want to check that out, everybody go check that out. It's okay, not the greatest thing of all time, so I won't sell myself too high. Thank you so much, Luke, for coming and joining us.
Big ups to Luke out here.
Really appreciate it. He saved our season finale of season 2, and he's starting off KHAP May Mania with a bang. So we're glad to have you.
Already, man. Yeah, what a guy.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I could talk about movies all night. So
absolutely.
Anytime you want me on, have me.
Open invitation to come back for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you to all our listeners. If you're new, thanks for coming out. If you're old, we appreciate you too.
You're cool, I guess.
We'll catch you in the next episode. It won't be a week from now, but be on the lookout for a lot of big things coming. And follow us on Instagram at KHAP Podcast, KHAPODCAST. Actually, don't just follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us everywhere. We're available. I think I'm going to start filming me doing the frames and posting those on our podcast TikTok. So be on the lookout for those. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. Peace.
Thank you.
What you've just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.